Welcome into BMOC's Bet Buffet, where we bring in Jeff Nadeau. Find him on Twitter at Jeff Nadeau to go over some college basketball picks. We'll be throwing out a bunch of picks, opinions on college basketball mostly, maybe some college football if he's up for it. But big man on campus, how's it going today, buddy? Going good?
Good to be back with you, Drew. Yep, good to be back with you, Drew. Sorry, had a little mic issue there. Good to be back with you, Drew. How are you?
Hey man, I'm doing good. I'm excited to get this show off the ground here. We got arguably the best mind in college basketball betting, yourself, and interested to hear your picks and opinions. But big man, we're 33% of the way through the college basketball season. Just wanted to first start off with what's really caught your eye. What are you interested in? What's surprised you? What's maybe not surprised you in college basketball so far this year?
I think really it seems like every year, Drew, we talk about how good the freshmen are in college basketball, and that's no secret this year. I mean, you look at Trey Young at Oklahoma; he might be the best player in the country right now. Marvin Begley at Duke, and this is a kid that should be in high school right now. You look at Miami; Lonnie Walker's had a very good year. Kentucky, we always know with them with the high flying freshmen. As always, freshmen continue to be the mainstay in college hoops, but and you look at even some of the smaller freshmen, maybe that no one talks about. Remy Martin for Arizona State has been a key cog as to why that team's undefeated and top five in the country right now. But again, I think another thing we have to also mention is it's a pretty open season right now. And again, I know we're only about a month into the season, but I could name 10 teams right now to me that can win the national title. This is a really tough year in college basketball. There are a lot of very, very good basketball teams.
And speaking of the national title, what about the Arizona State Sun Devils and what they've been able to accomplish kind of out of nowhere? If you go from the preseason rankings, do you think that they're actually in contention, or is this just kind of they're riding a quick wave here?
No, I think they're definitely in contention because they have a great coach at the helm in Hurley. He comes from obviously very good bloodlines, and he's done a great job at building this program. First of all, they have a great home atmosphere, one of the best in the country out in Tempe with the curtain they have there, and just a great home atmosphere. But you also look at the fact of how difficult they are to guard. You look at they have four guards that can handle the basketball, two elite scorers in Evans and Trey Holder, a guy that dropped 40 points against a real good Xavier team. And then you say, okay, well, we're going to cut off their ability to penetrate. They can shoot the basketball as well. Inside, they have two players in Daquan Lake and Romello White who are absolutely fantastic. And with them on the court, their points per possession are much higher. So you look at even against Kansas, Drew. You really have to look at how they were able to defend. They can play the perimeter, cut off that, and they can also say, you know what? Now you got to guard us down low. They're just a really dynamic basketball team. And you look at already, this team has beaten San Diego State. They beat them by 22 points. They beat Kansas State's a real good Big 12 team, beat a real good Xavier team who's top 10 at the time. You beat St. John's, who is a real budding program under Chris Mullen. And then you go in to Fog Allen and beat Kansas, which never happens. This team is very for real. I have them at 100 to 1 to win the whole thing. It's really my baby this year as far as futures are concerned. I think they're very for real, and I don't think they're going to go away. This could be a real big year for them, the Pac-12, Drew, just because you look at the rest of the teams in the Pac-12. Arizona's had personnel problems and defensive issues. Oregon has had injuries as well early on. USC has that indictment, and they have some issues early on. UCLA has depth issues right now. This could really be a special year for the Sun Devils.
And big man, you got them at 100 to 1 to win the national
I
championship?
do. Yes, I do.
Damn, that's a hell of
I
a bet
posted
there, man. And they're down to under 20 to 1 right now, right?
I would imagine I've seen, anywhere from 20, 30, 45 to 1. But yeah, I bet that. And I actually this is the good thing about it. I think the great thing about it, what SBR allows us to do is, we're able to share the bets that we have and we've given out. And I think that's what allows me to enjoy doing this because you can share it with other people. I know many listeners that listen to the regular shows that have it as well. So, I think a lot of people are really turned on with this team this year and ready to go with what they have to offer. So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and big man, we're gonna try to go for like 30 minutes. Obviously, talk about some topics, mostly in college basketball, and throw out some free picks and leans for the night. But before we get into that, want to get your opinion on conferences overall, because as we start to get into conference play now, a lot of kind of mainstream media is talking about how the SEC is improved. Do you think, given some love to the SEC, do you think they are one of the best conferences? And if so, where would you rank them amongst other conferences?
Well, I think they're very good. I don't know if they're the best or like the best conference to me is probably between the ACC and the Big 12. I think the Big 12 is a really good conference, and that's interesting to say just because they to me, I thought they'd have a down year this year. But the SEC is really good. I mean, obviously, Kentucky's always very good. Florida has had some issues lately. It's a concern how good they are. Missouri's obviously not as good without Michael Porter Jr. Texas A&M, very good. I like Alabama a lot. The concerns I have with some of these teams are they good enough to go on the road and win? I'm not sure Alabama is. They're very much a home team. The Mississippi schools don't do a ton for me. Vanderbilt's down this year. Tennessee's had good wins, but also good losses. They're a very good conference, but I think there are conferences that are better than them. Namely, I think the Big 12 is the best conference of basketball right now. That could obviously change as the season goes on, but in a year where the Big Ten's very down, the ACC has some very beatable teams in that conference. You still look though. I mean, with Duke and with Miami and with Virginia Tech and UNC, even Florida State, who Hamilton continues to do a very good job there. They're still a real good team, and any of the teams. I mean, but Drew, look at the Big 12. I mean, is there a weak team in that conference? I mean, frankly, look at every team there. I I mean, even Iowa State, who I predicted to be one of the worst teams in the conference, even they have turned on lately, and they're 7-2. Every team in this conference has two losses or fewer. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you bring up the Cyclones. I mean, they what started off 0-2 and have since rattled off 7 straight. They made the change from I think they moved their small forward to the point guard position, and since then they've won
Wigan,
seven. They've won
right,
seven
right. They
straight. Is that
moved Wigan.
right?
Yeah, they moved Wigginton, who's a freshman, out of the point guard role, put in Weiler Babb, and it's paid off dividends. We do have to mention for the record, the first game of the year was at Missouri when Michael Porter, who was in there, he didn't play much, but that was a tough ask to go in there and play Missouri first game of the season. So I give them a little bit of credit there, but I'm not really sure how you lost to Milwaukee. But other than that, I mean, they've been very effective. I mean, they're beating some good basketball teams in neutral sites. You had a big win against Iowa, your cross-state rival. But again, it's questionable how good they are. But that's the worst team in the Big 12. Every other team has been very, very good. So I think right now the Big 12 is to me the best conference in the country.
Hey, big man. Talking about the SEC, I read an article that brought up the fact when Mike Slive, the old commissioner, was there. He in the SEC network was coming into its own. He brought on all the ads and the basketball people, saying, "Hey, we need to invest in our basketball programs because we need to create better content for the SEC network." And that would come from the basketball slate because obviously their good football games go to CBS and ESPN, ABC, that kind of stuff. So that has had a lot to do with the SEC becoming better. I know Mississippi built a new complex. Auburn has a new basketball arena, and also they're paying their coaches. So you think that is a reason that the SEC has gotten better, and also would other conferences follow suit?
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of the reason also has to do with the fact that they've seemingly, like you said, put a lot more money into the basketball programs. All the schools are known for football: Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, those kind of teams. But I think overall the Kentucky's really when John Calipari came to Kentucky, that's when it really changed. I mean, he came in, started off the whole one and done thing, and you look at it in this conference, Drew. All of a sudden, they're getting some amazing recruits. I mean, the fact that Missouri gets Michael Porter, the fact that Alabama gets Colin Sexton, two top 10 recruits. You even look at what Mississippi State's done with their recruiting. Auburn, all these teams, they've like you said, basically made it a point to say, you know what, we're not going to treat this just as a football program. And it's pretty amazing the ascension of the SEC. Even up to last year, even other than Florida, Kentucky, there just haven't been very many good teams in this conference. It's nice to see all these teams kind of realigning, getting guys in there that can play basketball. And the student bodies have been interested. It's nice to see. And we now have a good conference all of a sudden here with this conference.
Yeah, good stuff, big man. Hey, we got a bunch of guys in the chat. Robbie, Johnny, Matt, Ron. Thanks for chiming in, guys. Let us know anything you want to hear about. Robbie saying DePaul is back. Big man, not sure if you agree with that, but dude, let's get into some of the picks, man. Do you have anything on DePaul, like what Robbie's saying, and also the Michigan-Texas game? Anything on that? I think it's on ESPN2 tonight.
Yeah, I've actually seen Robbie and other chats talking about DePaul, and look, I mean, they've been very impressive. I'm not going to take anything away from this group. I actually like some of their personnel, frankly. They're another team with a new basketball stadium that they're excited about. I'm a big Eli Kane fan. I like the Marn March transfer from Northern Illinois, but pump the brakes a little bit. Let's be realistic here, Robbie. I mean, this team is not competed in any of the games that they played as far as step up games against Notre Dame, Illinois, Michigan State, and Oregon. They've lost all of them. Their wins this year have come against, let's explain these, Drew. The Hornets of Delaware State, Portland, Youngstown, Central Connecticut, Illinois, Chicago, and mighty Alabama A&M. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Saying DePaul is the second best team in the Big East is absolutely idiotic and should never be said again. They're very good. And I get you may be a fan, and I'll let you have your fandom there. But to say they're the second best team is a little much.
Big man, I like how you knew that Delaware State was the Hornets. That really impresses me.
Drew, I will make it a point to one day we should, you know what we'll do? When I come to Costa Rica, we'll have a little game where we can bet on how many out of the 351 teams mascots I actually know. I am confident that as far as a handicap of how many I miss, if you put it at 1.5, I can almost say I guarantee I'd only miss maybe one out of all 351.
Illinois, Chicago.
The Flames.
Idaho State.
Bengals.
God, that's impressive, man. All right, we'll have to film this.
It's useless though. Who cares? It's like who really
it's not
cares,
making
right?
you any money.
Well, no. I mean, if it did, like I have useless info. Like I'm a Sopranos savant, and I know everything about countries in the world and their capitals and mascots in college basketball. But again, they don't pay you a wage for that. So,
yeah, for sure, man. Well, what about Michigan, Texas? Texas's leading scorer is out with a wrist issue. He'll likely be out until around Christmas. I kind of take that as scoring's going to be down. Ken Palm has this at a 125, I think 65-60. Yet the market's at 130.5 right now on SBR odds. I bet it to the under. Do you agree?
As this total keeps rising, I think you're starting to make a case for an under here. I know in the early show that Donnie and I do at 10 o'clock, and I mentioned the total's low. I mean, 129 is a low total. And, you look at both these teams, they're both pretty efficient offense. I mean, frankly, you look at, I know Michigan hasn't scored the three like they usually do, but, overall, these are pretty solid offenses. The problem I have here in this game, Drew, these are both two really good defenses. And I think Mohamed Bamba is going to have a field day against Wagner. Wagner struggles against players like Mohamed Bamba. Bamba's strength is his defense. And you look at what Michigan will do. They're going to play zone. They're going to run a 2-3 zone. They're going to say to Texas, look, you're going to make outside shots. And that is not what Texas wants to do. They want to play a little bit quicker, get the ball down to Bamba and players like that, score on the low perimeter. Again, I actually, at this number, I'm starting to feel like you're kind of right, because to get an over here, you're going to need a 68-66, a 70-66 type of game. I, along the line, see this more of like 65-62, 64-59, something like that, as I really kind of, the day goes on and I look more into it.
Okay. Hey, we got Matthew asking about Maine. I'm pretty sure they're the Black Bears, right, big man?
Yeah, the Black Bears of Maine. Yep.
Did you know that one, or did I help you out?
No, I definitely knew that one. That's
okay.
Easy.
Yeah, I figured you would. What about
Hampton,
five? Go ahead, bud.
No, Hampton's the Pirates. Someone asked that one. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're gonna know upwards of 340, maybe even more. But I'd take the over on 1.5. We'll have to bet that.
Yeah, I'll definitely. I'm in. I'll do it.
All right, man, let's go 545, 546. Albany, Memphis. Looks like SBR Odds has it right now as high as 1 at the Greek. Pick 'em pretty much everywhere else, 140.5. What do you got on Albany, Memphis?
Yeah, this is a really interesting game because I think a lot of people, the kind of the casual hoop fan will say, "Wow, Albany's a pick 'em at Memphis or a slight underdog." Tubby Smith's group should definitely be able to handle them with their athleticism. But here's the truth of the matter: Albany is among the best mid-major teams in the country. The America East has two very good teams in Albany and in Vermont. Albany's a team that under Will Brown has always been a real good team. I mean, you look at the guard play they have: David Cremo and Nichols, uh, or Joe Cremo and Nichols. They've been very good. Two guys that can get into the paint, they can score the basketball. The interesting thing about Albany is that they definitely like to penetrate into the lane. They don't shoot a ton of threes, but when they do, they've been fairly effective, frankly. Memphis has been kind of a bogey team for me this year, Drew. I bet against them twice at the same exact line against Northern Kentucky and against Mercer in both games. Both teams had leads. The Dogs had the lead with the 5-minute mark coming up. They managed to blow it. If you actually remember, Drew, we were on that game with the Bet Buffet or the Betcast we did for the SEC championship.
Mm-hmm.
Mercer kept going into overtime. Memphis just wouldn't miss at the free throw line. Um, they're not going to be as lucky tonight. Everyone's playing for Albany, unlike Mercer, who was without their best player, who was oddly out in the game for some reason. I just think Albany's a team. They're not going to turn the ball over. They're effective when they shoot the three ball. They're good at the free throw line. Those are the kind of teams, Drew, when you're taking dogs in spots like this, you can't turn the ball over. You can't make mistakes. Albany takes care of it. They're a team that just values the basketball. And I think in this game, this is not one of the stronger Memphis teams. I think they'll do enough. I'd prefer to get some points here. I think the line is just there's not a ton of value at this pick 'em number or 1. If I was getting 3 or 4, I'd be way more inclined to take Albany. It's really just a lean for me, but don't be surprised. Don't just lay it and say they're going to get crushed. Albany is a really good basketball team.
Yeah, and you bring up that betcast. That was fun, big man. We got a lot of good comments and stuff. We should do that again. But that was for the SEC championship, the Auburn-Georgia game. But hey, we got another one right in the price range you were talking about, the 3 to 4 price range. Murray State versus St. Louis. Hey, big man. First off, what's Murray State?
The Racers.
In St. Louis?
Billiken.
Dude, preaching, man. Hey, we got Murray State laying 3 at Penny. 3.5 at Heritage, 136.5 across the board at SBR Odds, 537, 538 on the rotation, 8 o'clock tip. How you looking to bet this one?
Yeah, people ask me all the time about overnight lines in certain games, and this is a key example on why you should really consider every night at midnight taking a look at the lines and doing a little bit of your own capping before you go to bed. People always ask me, why do you go to bed so late? Because I sit here and I look at these lines before they move early in the day because I know by morning those lines aren't going to be there. If you bet this game last night, you could have got Murray State at 1 or 1.5, a great number. It's now up to 3 or 3.5. The value's just gone for Murray State, unfortunately. This is a road game. Look, will they probably cover this? Probably. But I think the value is lost at this line. St. Louis is not a good basketball team, but they are a team that I think is better than their record indicates. Murray State does a lot of good things, though. They're a good offensive team, a pretty good defensive team as well, good rebounding club. And look, they can shoot the three ball. St. Louis can't. They just do a lot of things that I think will bother the Billikens here. But the Billikens are well coached. They're pretty good athletes, and they're at home here at 3.5. If you're betting Murray at this number, I think you really need to reevaluate how you're betting college hoops because this is not a line at this point that has any value left. 1 or 1.5 money line, sure, but 3 or 3.5 just lost value for me.
So the 2-point move there sidewise, you think is, you got to pay attention to these numbers moves. Would you feel the same totals wise if it was like, let's just say 140 to 142? Would you say that's the same importance, or would it need to be?
No, I wouldn't say that. I just am kind of basically saying that if you're looking at overnight lines, which you should be doing, I don't really know that it's a smart idea to just wait till the morning and say, okay, I'm going to look at the lines now. Some of these games, if you look at a game like a schedule like today, they're what 16 games, 15 games. There's not a ton of games that are worth betting on. And games like this, Murray State, who's a better team, Billikens have been through several years of poor play. You're going to see Murray State, they're a household name all of a sudden because their success in the past. People are going to jump on this right away. This is all public money. The public likes this. They're the right side. I'm not going to say they're not. All I'm saying is at the line that you're at now, there's just not a lot left. And you have to look at games, especially on short cards like this. You have to key in on games like this and get them early because here's the thing with a game like this. If you like it at 1.5, what are your reasonings on waiting? It's going to go up. The public is going to bet Murray State here. That's just the truth of the matter. Waiting, 12, 13 hours, you're losing a point or two. And now at the end of the game, you're sweating a game because now instead of covering a 2 or 1, you got to get to that 4 or 5 point number. That's a lot tougher, late into a game. So for me, it's just these are games that I'm betting early rather than later. Like I said, if you're betting this at 3.5, I think you really need to take a look at what you're doing.
Hey, we got Greg in the chat box saying, "Big man's dropping gems today." Man, you are. And guys, if you're liking the content here, please give us a thumbs up, the like button. And Big man, just to follow up to what you were saying, what books do you look to bet the overlines with?
That's a good question. I will say that Bet Online is very good at putting openers out. They're usually a group that sets the markets for a lot of these lines. I think the book I respect most is Bet Online because they are not scared to put out their own lines. They always do that, whether it's football, whether it's basketball. I like that book a lot. Bookmaker's another good one. But as far as a book that offers everything, and I think it's to me a really good book as far as basketball is concerned. I know they shade a lot of the time and kind of things of certain numbers, but as far as if you're looking for the off the radar online games and things like that, Five Dimes is a good book for that. They're another book that's not scared to put out lines for those games, and in those games they are very beatable, especially if you know when those lines come out. For instance, there was a couple weeks ago, Drew, really towards the beginning of the season, Oakland University was playing a added game, and I'm trying to remember who it was against. I have to look it up. And if you give me a minute, I will. They were playing. I don't know. I think it was. Oh, New Orleans. That's right. New Orleans University, the Privateers, and Oakland opened at 5 dimes at 8.5 right at the open. I hit it right away. By game time, it was up to like 16. So if you're someone that does the work like I do, and you know these teams, and you can make an inference on what you should do, books like that, they're the only book that offers lines for that, and you can really pick those out. No book offers those kind of games, and I think early in the season in a non-conference, you can make a lot of money just if you do the work and know those kind of teams. You can really pick those lines out.
Damn, an 11-point move. Is that right? 5 to 16?
Yeah, there's been a ton of those this year. I know, for instance, I also had a game. For instance, Mercer, early in the year, Mercer University, they were playing a team called Toccoa Falls. They're an NAIA team, a very small school. Toccoa Falls basically sets out to play the toughest schedule every year. And this is a team that lost by 100 points to Appalachian State. And, a couple of days later, actually the next night, they went to Mercer to play the Bears. And 5 times puts out a 50.5 point line. And I'm thinking, where else can I bet this? This is the only place that's going to offer this. They're going to win by 70, I think. I laid the 50.5. I did my due diligence. But if 5 times wasn't there, they would have never allowed me to bet on that kind of game. And listen, I don't care what it is. If I have an edge on it and I can bet it, I'm going to bet it. I don't care what people think about what I do or what I don't do. I'm going to try to find value. And a book like 5 times I respect for putting out those numbers like that.
Okay. Hey, big man, we got two guys in the chat box, Magooster and Robbie, asking about Georgia Southern, George Mason. I don't have anything on it. Do you?
Not particularly. I think for me, I like Georgia Southern. Ike Smith is a really good player. That's a tough conference, the Sun Belt, and they've actually done a decent job over the years. But I'm not a big George Mason guy. Last year I was covered a lot of tickets for me. But for me, Ike Smith, Tukey Brown, I'd rather take Georgia Southern. But I haven't looked a ton into that game. I don't have much opinion on it. Both teams I could see making a case for. George Mason's always a pretty good defensive team out of the Atlantic 10. It's one of those games where your clash in styles is kind of concerning here. I don't have much on this game, frankly.
Okay, we got Bruce saying he likes the over 144.5, Wisconsin, Green Bay, Indiana State. Anything on that one, big man?
I'm not a huge totals guy, really. I think in my season so far, I've had 2 or 3 totals all year. Just I don't really bet much of them. I think for me, I don't have much in that game, but one total I will point out, and one game I will make you aware of. And it's actually been a handicapping option that's presented itself a couple different times for this team due to the fact of the one player they have. South Dakota State, North Dakota. South Dakota State has, to me, the best player in the country. I think Mike Dom is a guy that's the best player no one knows about, and he's putting up numbers, Drew, at South Dakota State. You would be surprised of. I mean, he's going to be the all-time leading scorer before he graduates to South Dakota State, which no one knows. It's a shame. He's putting up Kevin Durant type numbers. No one's ever put up the numbers he has other than Kevin Durant in his career. He is really difficult to guard. He can play down low. He can go out in the perimeter. And North Dakota has very limited front court options. They can't guard people like Mike Dom. And this has presented a problem all year because you look at all year, teams have had issues like North Dakota, who don't play much defense to begin with. They've had a lot of trouble guarding players like Mike Dom. North Dakota is not a good defensive team, but they are a team that can score. Both these teams don't play a whole hell of a lot of defense. They're going to go quick. They're going to go fast. These are the kind of games I'm looking to bet. At 161.5, Summit League games, to me, a lot of the time, I'm looking to bet over. This could be one of those 93, 89 type of games. I'm not looking to bet this one under, put it that way.
Okay. Well, good stuff, big man. You want to hit on anything else before we close this down?
No, I think it's I think that's good. I enjoy doing it. It's nice to have the avenue here in SBR to chat about a couple games and just kind of talk about the overview. And it's helpful to have. I know we'll have the roundtable and stuff, but for me, this is a good way to kind of get some points across. And it's always fun chatting here on SBR. But yeah, I'd urge everyone. You check out everything we're doing here on SBR. There's so much great information that people are putting out here, and we have little shows like this that really can allow the listeners to ask questions. And check us out every Saturday. We do these as well. Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Ian Cameron will be with me. I'm sure Drew will join us at some point. Donnie Rightside. We leave it open to everyone. I just didn't think Drew would want to do it on a Saturday. I know he likes to sleep in, from what I've heard. So yeah, Drew, always fun. Yeah, excited to do this weekly.
Yeah, so we'll be doing this every Tuesday, 3 o'clock. I do got to admit, big man, we kind of got on after this just last week or earlier this week. And so it's exciting to be doing this for college basketball throughout the season every Tuesday. But next Tuesday, I will be about 30,000 feet in the air heading back to the U.S. for Christmas. So I don't know if you'd rather go solo, or will you be around this next Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm sure we can figure something out. I mean, maybe, I can do it or whatever. I get, it is Christmas, next week or in the next couple weeks here. So yeah, no, we'll figure it out. I mean, either way, we'll find a way to get on here on a Tuesday, and hope we keep this going all year.
Yeah, for sure, man. So yeah, that's the only one I will likely miss. Other than that, I'm excited to be here with you as well. Gary, Bruce, Robbie, David, we appreciate the shout out. Matt, Eric. Yeah, hopefully it was good info. Please give us the thumbs up, the like button, and for Big Man on Campus, follow him on Twitter at Jeff Nadeau. I'm Drew Martin. We'll be back every Tuesday with the BMOC Bet Buffet. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.